Lucky American coins. The 2006 United States 1-cent coin, commonly known as the Lincoln cent or Lincoln penny, is one of the most widely collected modern American coins. The coin carries the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Abraham Lincoln has appeared on the cent since 1909, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. The Lincoln Memorial reverse was used from 1959 through 2008, and the 2006 cent belongs to this historic period. The coin was designed by Victor David Brenner on the obverse and Frank Gasparo on the reverse. The standard circulation coin was struck in copper-plated zinc with a weight of approximately 2.50 grams, a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, and a plain edge. The mint mark, when present, appears below the date. Philadelphia pieces carry no mint mark, Denver pieces show a D, and proof examples from San Francisco display an S. The official denomination is 1 cent, represented by the symbol cent. The coin was produced in enormous numbers, with billions struck for circulation, making ordinary examples extremely common. Many collectors become interested in the 2006 Lincoln cent because of reported mint errors and varieties. While a normal circulated 2006 penny is usually worth only face value, certain error coins can command significantly higher premiums. Collectors search for double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, broad strikes, clipped planches, misaligned dies, and other unusual production mistakes. Error collecting has become one of the most exciting areas of modern numismatics, because each error coin tells a unique story about the minting process. The history of the Lincoln cent begins long before 2006. In 1909, the United States Mint introduced the Lincoln cent to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first regular United States coin to feature a real historical person rather than an allegorical figure. Victor David Brenner's portrait of Lincoln quickly became iconic. The original reverse displayed wheat ears, leading collectors to call those coins wheat cents. In 1959, the reverse changed to the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, to honor the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The 2006 cent therefore represents part of a nearly 50-year Lincoln Memorial series that remained in production until 2008. On the front of the coin appears Abraham Lincoln facing right. The word Liberty is located to the left of Lincoln's portrait, while the date appears to the right. Above Lincoln is the national motto "In God We Trust." The reverse features the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. Between the columns of the memorial, a tiny representation of Lincoln can be seen. Above the memorial appears United States of America, while E pluribus unum is displayed across the top. The denomination 1 cent is prominently positioned at the bottom. This design became familiar to generations of Americans and remains one of the most recognizable coin designs in the world. The weight of the 2006 cent is approximately 2.50 grams. The coin consists of a zinc core covered with a thin layer of copper plating. This composition was adopted in 1982 to reduce production costs as copper prices increased. Although the coin appears copper in color, the majority of its metal content is zinc. The diameter measures approximately 19.05 millimeters. And the edge is plain rather than reeded. These specifications remain standard for Lincoln cents of the era. Collectors often hear sensational stories claiming that a 2006 penny is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. There is no verified evidence that a 2006 Lincoln cent has ever sold for $252 million. The highest documented auction prices for normal 2006 cents are generally measured in hundreds, or a few $1,000s depending on grade and rarity. Exceptional mint errors may bring larger amounts, but verified market records do not support values anywhere near hundreds of millions of dollars. High-value claims often circulate online for entertainment purposes, and should be carefully verified through professional grading services and auction records. Among the most desirable 2006 varieties are double die obverse examples. A double die occurs when the coin die receives multiple impressions that do not align perfectly, causing certain letters or numbers to appear doubled. Collectors examine the date, Liberty, and Iron God We Trust for evidence of doubling. Genuine double dies can command significant premiums depending on the strength of the doubling and the condition of the coin. Professional authentication is important because many forms of machine doubling can resemble true double dies, but are far less valuable. Off-center strikes represent another fascinating error category. During minting, if the blank planchette is not properly centered between the dies, part of the design may be missing. Coins struck 5%, 10%, 20%, or even 50% off-center can be highly collectible. The value generally increases with the amount of off-centering, especially if the date remains visible. Dramatic examples are popular among collectors because they clearly display the minting error. Broad-struck cents occur when the retaining collar fails to contain the planchette during striking. The result is a coin that appears larger and flatter than normal. These errors are visually impressive because the design spreads outward beyond its intended dimensions. Depending on quality and rarity, broad-struck 2006 cents may attract strong collector interest. Clipped planchette errors occur when the blank metal strip used to produce coin planches overlaps a previously punched area. The resulting coin has a curved missing section along its edge. Genuine clipped planches exhibit characteristic features such as the Blakesley effect. These pieces provide direct evidence of manufacturing anomalies and are sought after by specialists. Die cracks are another commonly collected error. Over time, coin dies experience tremendous pressure and may develop fractures. These cracks appear as raised lines on finished coins. Minor die cracks are common, while major die breaks can create dramatic raised features known as cud errors. Large cuds often command substantial premiums because they are visually striking and comparatively scarce. Misaligned die errors occur when one die shifts out of position. The obverse and reverse designs may appear offset from their intended alignment. In severe cases, collectors can easily notice the displacement without magnification. Such pieces demonstrate how even small mechanical adjustments can influence coin appearance. Lamination errors result from impurities or defects in the metal. Portions of the coin's surface may peel away or separate from the underlying structure. Because modern cents contain a zinc core and copper plating, plating-related defects can also occur. Collectors often distinguish between post-mint damage and genuine mint-produced laminations through careful examination. Some 2006 cents display die chips. These occur when tiny pieces of the die break away. The resulting coins show small raised lumps where metal flowed into the missing portion of the die. Certain die chips become famous among collectors when they resemble recognizable shapes or produce unusual visual effects. The Philadelphia Mint struck billions of 2006 cents, making the date readily available. Denver also produced billions more. Because of these huge mintages, ordinary examples remain common in circulation and dealer inventories. However, obtaining coins in exceptionally high grades becomes much more challenging. Tiny contact marks, discoloration, and handling imperfections prevent most coins from achieving the highest certification grades. Collectors pursuing top population examples may pay substantial premiums for certified coins with exceptional eye appeal. Proof versions produced at the San Francisco Mint were specially manufactured for collectors. These coins feature mirror-like fields and frosted devices. Proof coins receive extra care during production and are typically sold in collector sets rather than released into circulation. Many proof examples survive in excellent condition because they were preserved from the moment of issue. The Lincoln cent has always occupied a special place in American culture. Generations of children began coin collecting by examining pennies found in change jars, piggy banks, and cash registers. The low denomination allowed collectors to assemble large date and mint-mark collections at relatively low cost. Even today, searching rolls of pennies remains a popular hobby activity. The year 2006 occurred just before major changes in the Lincoln cent series. In 2009, the United States Mint celebrated Lincoln's bicentennial with 4 different reverse designs representing stages of his life. These special designs replaced the Lincoln Memorial temporarily before the introduction of the Union Shield reverse in 2010. As a result, the 2006 cent belongs to the final years of the classic Lincoln Memorial era. Collectors evaluating a 2006 cent often consider several factors. Condition remains the most important. Coins showing strong original luster, minimal contact marks, and attractive color typically receive higher grades. Red cents retaining original mint color are generally more desirable than brown examples. Certification by major grading services can further enhance marketability by providing independent verification of authenticity and condition. Error coin values vary tremendously. Minor die chips may sell for only a few dollars, while dramatic off-center strikes, major double dies, and spectacular mint mistakes can reach hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Market demand, rarity, eye appeal, and certification all influence final prices. Because error collecting is highly specialized, knowledgeable buyers carefully evaluate each piece on its individual merits. When searching for valuable 2006 pennies, collectors should use magnification and proper lighting. Important areas include the date, lettering, Lincoln's portrait, and the reverse design. Comparing suspected varieties with documented examples helps avoid confusion. Many coins that appear unusual are simply damaged after leaving the mint, while genuine mint errors possess distinct characteristics recognized by specialists. The enduring popularity of the Lincoln cent reflects Abraham Lincoln's importance in American history. Lincoln guided the nation through the Civil War, preserved the Union, and issued the Emancipation Proclamation. His image on the cent serves as a daily reminder of these achievements. For more than a century, Americans have carried Lincoln's portrait in their pockets, making the cent one of the most familiar historical artifacts in circulation. Although ordinary 2006 pennies remain common, the pursuit of rare errors continues to captivate collectors. Each unusual coin offers a glimpse into the complex manufacturing process behind United States coinage. Whether examining double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planches, die cracks, cuts, laminations, or other anomalies, collectors enjoy the challenge of discovering pieces that stand apart from billions of normal coins. For realistic market expectations, a typical circulated 2006 penny is generally worth 1 cent, while uncirculated examples may be worth modest premiums. Certified high-grade specimens can sell for significantly more, and major error coins may command impressive collector prices. However, claims that a normal 2006 penny is worth $252 million are not supported by documented numismatic evidence. Serious collectors rely on auction records, grading services, and established price guides when determining value. When collectors examine a 2006 United States 1-cent coin, one of the first things they should understand is the difference between an ordinary coin, a die variety, and a genuine mint error. These categories can look similar to an inexperienced eye, but they are produced by different events and can have very different values. The 2006 Lincoln cent is especially interesting because it was produced in enormous quantities while still having collectible varieties and dramatic minting errors. PCGS records more than 4.29 billion Philadelphia 2006 cents alone, and the standard coin weighs 2.50 grams and is made from copper-plated zinc. The first major variety worth discussing is the 2006 double die obverse. This variety is particularly interesting because it is not simply a coin that received two strikes. A genuine double die originates during the creation of the die itself. When the hub and die do not align perfectly during the die-making process, portions of the design can be duplicated. Every coin struck by that affected die can therefore carry the same characteristic doubling. This is fundamentally different from mechanical doubling, which occurs during the striking process and usually produces a flatter, shelf-like appearance. Two recognized 2006 double die obverse varieties are listed as FS101 and FS102. Collectors examining these varieties generally study the date, Liberty, and Iron God We Trust under magnification. The strongest characteristics can be subtle, which is why comparison with authenticated examples is important. PCGS specifically lists 2006 DDO FS101 and FS102 varieties among the recognized die varieties for the year. A collector who discovers a 2006 penny with apparent doubling should not immediately assume it is worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. The shape of the doubling matters. True hub doubling generally produces distinct separation or notching, while machine doubling can make the edge of a letter appear flattened or pushed sideways. Damage can create even more confusing appearances. A scratch, dent, plating disturbance, or chemical reaction can make letters look unusual without being a collectible mint error. The date 2006 is one of the most important areas to inspect. Under approximately 5x to 10x magnification, examine each digit independently. Look for genuine separation in the design rather than a simple flat edge. The 2, 0, 0, and 6 should have consistent characteristics with known examples of the variety. If only one part of a digit looks damaged, the feature may be post-mint damage rather than a die variety. Liberty is another important location. On recognized double die examples, collectors can look carefully around the letters for notching, separation, and thickened design elements. The letter T, for example, can provide useful diagnostic information in some examples. Modern Lincoln cents can show many forms of strike-related distortion, so the exact appearance should be compared against established variety references rather than judged from a photograph alone. In God We Trust can also contain evidence of doubling. Because the lettering is relatively small, a loop can make a substantial difference. A collector should rotate the coin under the light instead of simply looking straight down at it. Changes in lighting can reveal raised details that are difficult to see under direct illumination. The reverse of the 2006 cent is equally interesting because it carries the Lincoln Memorial. The memorial reverse was introduced in 1959 and continued through 2008. The 2006 cent is therefore part of the final years of the famous memorial design. NGC notes that the Lincoln Memorial reverse type was struck from 1959 through 2008, and that the series contains numerous collectible varieties and mint errors even though most regular dates are common. The Lincoln Memorial itself can provide clues when investigating a suspected error. Collectors can examine the columns, roofline, lettering, and denomination for unusual doubling or striking abnormalities. However, not every irregularity on the memorial is a doubled die. Die deterioration, die wear, strike pressure, and circulation damage can all alter the appearance of details. One of the most dramatic possible errors is an off-center strike. An off-center cent occurs when the planchette is not correctly positioned when the dies strike it. Instead of producing a perfectly centered Lincoln portrait and memorial, the design becomes displaced toward one side. A blank crescent-shaped area may appear where the dies fail to contact the planchette. The percentage of off-center displacement is important. A coin that is only slightly off-center may have a small premium, while a dramatic example can be considerably more desirable. The presence of the complete date is particularly important because it allows the coin to be identified immediately. A spectacular off-center coin without a readable date can still be collectible, but its identification becomes more difficult. A 2006 off-center strike can be especially interesting because the date allows collectors to connect the error directly to the 2006 issue. The more dramatic the displacement, while still retaining the date and major design elements, the stronger the collector appeal can become. Recent specialist reporting has documented substantial prices for dramatic 2006 errors, including a reported 2006 off-center example that sold for hundreds of dollars. Another dramatic possibility is a double strike. A true double strike occurs when a coin receives more than one strike from the dies. If the coin is not properly ejected after the first strike, it can be struck again. The second impression may overlap the first, producing two visible images. Depending on the position of the second strike, the Lincoln portrait can appear duplicated or shifted. A double-struck 2006 penny can be far more interesting than a coin that merely appears doubled because of mechanical doubling. The key is understanding how the design elements overlap. On a genuine double strike, the second strike can produce a separate and recognizable second impression. Mechanical doubling generally affects the edges of existing design elements without producing a second complete design. Some dramatic double-struck cents can display a second Lincoln portrait partially outside the normal coin position. These are visually powerful errors and are often easier for beginners to understand than subtle double die varieties. However, authentication remains important because altered or damaged coins can sometimes imitate unusual strike patterns. Another major category is the wrong planchette error. This occurs when a coin is struck on a blank intended for another denomination or another type of coin. Such errors can be extremely interesting because the resulting coin may have an unusual size, weight, thickness, or color. A normal 2006 cent should weigh about 2.50 grams. If a supposed 2006 penny weighs substantially less or more, the collector should investigate further. Weight alone does not prove a wrong planchette error because coins can lose weight through damage, corrosion, plating loss, or other causes. Nevertheless, a substantial weight difference can be an important warning sign. A cent struck on a dime planchette, for example, would be smaller and lighter than a normal cent, and would have a silver-colored appearance because the planchette composition would be different. A cent struck on a nickel planchette would be larger and considerably heavier. These unusual combinations can be valuable because they represent a failure in the mint's blank feeding and production process. The strongest evidence for a wrong planchette error comes from a combination of characteristics. The weight should correspond to the suspected host planchette, the dimensions should make sense, the metal should be consistent with that planchette, and the coin's design should show evidence that it was struck by the cent dies. Professional authentication is particularly important because collectors can otherwise mistake damaged or altered coins for genuine off-metal errors. A clipped planchette is another fascinating error. Before coins are struck, large sheets or strips of metal are punched to create circular blanks. If a blank overlaps an area where another blank has already been removed, the resulting planchette can have a curved section missing. When that defective planchette becomes a coin, the missing portion remains visible. A curved clip is often the easiest clipped planchette error for beginners to recognize. The missing portion may resemble a crescent or curved bite taken from the edge. The coin can still contain most of the Lincoln design, but part of the outer rim will be absent. One important feature collectors study is the Blakesley effect. On a genuine curved clipped planchette, the rim opposite the missing section can show a characteristic weakness. This phenomenon occurs because the metal behaves differently during the striking process when part of the planchette is absent. It can help distinguish a genuine clip from a coin that was damaged after leaving the mint. Post-mint damage is one of the biggest dangers in error collecting. A person can cut, grind, squeeze, bend, scrape, or chemically alter a normal penny and make it appear unusual. Such a coin is not automatically valuable. The collector must determine whether the unusual feature was created at the mint or after the coin entered circulation. A genuine mint error usually has characteristics that make sense within the manufacturing process. If a section is missing, there should be evidence explaining how that section could have been absent before striking. If the coin is off-center, the design should shift in a mechanically consistent manner. If it is broad-struck, the rim characteristics should correspond with a missing or failed collar. If the coin is struck on a wrong planchet, its weight, diameter, thickness, and composition should form a coherent explanation. Broad strikes are produced when a coin is struck without proper containment by the collar. The collar normally helps control the diameter and shape of the coin during striking. Without it, the metal can spread outward. A broad-struck 2006 cent may therefore appear wider and flatter than an ordinary penny. Collectors should compare the diameter of a suspected broad strike with the standard diameter of a 2006 cent PCGS lists the normal diameter at approximately 19 mm and the weight at 2.50 grams. The absence of a normal raised rim can be an important clue. On a broad strike, the coin may have a flatter appearance because the metal was allowed to expand outside the normal collar boundaries. The design itself can also appear stretched. Die cracks create another category of collectible abnormalities. A coin die is subjected to enormous mechanical pressure. With repeated use, a die can develop cracks. When metal flows into a crack in the die during striking, the finished coin displays a raised line. A die crack can be tiny and almost invisible, or it can become dramatic. As the die continues to deteriorate, the crack may become larger and more pronounced. Collectors sometimes describe spectacular die breaks as cuds, particularly when a portion of the die surface breaks away and creates a large raised area on the coin. Lincoln cents are famous for die crack varieties, including the informal BIE phenomenon. A BIE refers to a raised die crack line appearing between the B and E of Liberty, creating something that resembles the letter I. It is not a literal additional letter engraved into the coin. Instead, it is the result of a die crack. These BIE-style die cracks are fun to collect, but they should not automatically be described as extremely rare or worth enormous sums. Small die cracks can be relatively common. The value depends on the strength, location, appearance, rarity, condition, and collector demand for the particular example. Plating errors are particularly relevant to modern copper-plated zinc cents. The outer copper layer is extremely thin. If the plating is incomplete, damaged during manufacturing, or separates from the zinc core, unusual colors and surfaces can appear. A coin with exposed zinc can appear gray or silvery in areas where the copper plating is missing. However, collectors must distinguish genuine plating problems from environmental damage. Corrosion can also expose the underlying zinc and create similar appearances after the coin has been in circulation. The edge of a 2006 cent can provide useful information. The normal edge is plain. Looking at the edge under magnification can help identify unusual plating, exposed zinc, cracks, or other manufacturing abnormalities. However, collectors should avoid damaging the coin while attempting to inspect it. Another area of interest is the mint mark. Philadelphia cents have no mint mark, while Denver cents bear a D. San Francisco produced proof versions. A missing mint mark on a 2006 circulation cent is not automatically an error because Philadelphia intentionally produced cents without mint marks. This is an important point for new collectors. Some people discover a 2006 penny without a mint mark and believe that the missing D must represent an error. It does not. A Philadelphia 2006 cent was intentionally produced without a mint mark. The absence of a mint mark must therefore be interpreted in context. The Denver 2006 cent can be identified by the D beneath the date. Because Denver produced a very large number of cents, ordinary examples are common. What matters is whether the coin has an unusual variety, an important error, exceptional grade, or another feature that separates it from normal examples. Proof coins are another matter. San Francisco proof cents carry an S mint mark and were produced specifically for collectors. Proof surfaces can show dramatic contrast between mirrored fields and frosted devices. A high-grade proof can be attractive even without an error. Special satin finish cents from 2006 also deserve attention. These were produced for collector sets rather than ordinary circulation. Their finish differs from standard circulation strikes, and they can be scarcer than the billions of regular circulation coins. Collectors should therefore determine whether a coin is a normal circulation strike, proof, or special finish before estimating its value. Condition is crucial. A 2006 cent that has spent years in circulation can have scratches, discoloration, fingerprints, stains, dents, and contact marks. A coin that has remained in a collection since 2006 may retain much more original surface quality. Modern coins can be deceptively difficult to find in perfect condition because the copper plating is easily marked. The color designation of a copper-plated zinc cent also matters. Professional grading companies use designations such as BN, RB, and RO to describe the coin's color. Red examples retaining original appearance are generally more desirable than heavily browned pieces at comparable grades. A top-grade 2006 regular cent demonstrates how condition alone can change the value. PCGS records an auction result of $2,640 for a 2006 Philadelphia cent graded MS-68 Road, sold in March 2020. This is an important documented example because it demonstrates that a coin with a face value of 1 cent can become a four-figure collectible when exceptional grade and market demand combine. That $2,640 result should not be interpreted as the normal value of a 2006 penny. It represents an exceptional certified coin at a very high grade. Most 2006 cents are nowhere near that condition. The enormous difference between face value and the auction result illustrates why grade is so important in modern coin collecting. The same principle applies to errors. A dramatic authenticated error can be worth hundreds or potentially more depending on the exact error. But a normal coin with a minor scratch should not be valued like a major mint error. Recent specialist listings and reports describe 2006 error examples with documented sales in the hundreds of dollars, including off-center, double-struck, wrong planchette, and double-die examples. Some online claims nevertheless advertise a 2006 penny as being worth $252 million. Such a figure should be treated as a sensational claim rather than an established market price. There is no verified auction record supporting a $252 million sale for a 2006 Lincoln cent. Documented records place exceptional regular examples and major errors dramatically below that amount. For a serious collector, the distinction between an internet claim and an actual auction result is essential. A coin's market value is ultimately determined by what knowledgeable buyers are willing to pay. A seller can advertise a coin for $252 million, $25 million, or any other number, but an asking price is not the same as a completed transaction. A genuine market value requires evidence from actual sales, professional opinions, and comparable examples. This distinction is particularly important for YouTube videos and social media content about rare coins. Headlines such as 2006 penny worth $252 million may attract attention, but responsible numismatic content should clearly explain that the figure is not a verified market value unless a documented transaction supports it. For someone searching through 2006 pennies at home, the best approach is to separate ordinary examples from potentially interesting ones. Start by checking the date. Then determine whether the coin has a D mint mark or no mint mark. Examine the color and surface. Weigh the coin if it looks unusual. Inspect the date and lettering with magnification. Then compare the suspected error with authenticated examples. A digital scale capable of measuring to at least 0.01 gram can be useful. The expected standard weight is approximately 2.50 grams. A coin reading around that figure is consistent with a normal 2006 cent, but weight by itself cannot prove authenticity or rule out an error. A small difference can result from normal tolerances or wear. A dramatic difference is more significant and deserves investigation. Do not clean the coin before authentication. Cleaning can permanently damage the surface and reduce collector value. Even if the coin looks dirty, original surfaces are usually preferable to polished or chemically treated surfaces. Collectors and grading services can recognize cleaning, scratches, and altered surfaces. Handling is also important. Hold collectible coins by their edges rather than touching the obverse and reverse surfaces. Finger oils can leave residues on metal surfaces. For a potentially valuable error, placing the coin in a suitable non-damaging holder can protect it while it is being evaluated. Photography can help with preliminary identification. Take sharp images of the obverse, reverse, and edge under good lighting. Avoid excessive filters or digital enhancement because they can make normal features appear unusual. A straight-on photograph accompanied by close-ups of the date, liberty, mint mark, and suspected error area is usually more useful. Magnification is especially important for double die varieties. A small jeweller's loupe can reveal details invisible to the naked eye. However, magnification should be used to identify characteristics, not to manufacture an error from normal surface imperfections. The difference between doubling and damage is one of the most important lessons for a new collector. Damage generally affects the surface randomly. Genuine die varieties show repeated, consistent design characteristics. If the same unusual doubling appears in exactly the expected location across multiple examples from the same die, the evidence becomes much stronger. The 2006 DDO varieties are particularly valuable educational examples because they demonstrate that modern coins can contain legitimate die varieties even after improvements in mint technology. Specialist reporting has highlighted the 2006 FS 101 and FS 102 double die varieties, and the diagnostic areas collectors use to identify them. Another fascinating lesson is that rarity does not automatically equal an enormous price. A coin may be scarce but have limited demand. Conversely, a coin with strong collector demand can command a premium even when more examples exist. Value is created by the combination of rarity, condition, visual appeal, historical interest, and demand. The 2006 cent has an advantage in this respect because Lincoln cents have one of the largest collecting communities in American numismatics. Beginners can begin with circulation coins, while advanced collectors can pursue varieties, certified errors, high-grade examples, proof coins, and special finishes. The historical context also increases the interest of the 2006 cent. It belongs to the last part of the Lincoln Memorial Reverse era. The Memorial Reverse would disappear after 2008, making the 2006 issue part of the closing chapter of a design that had been used for nearly half a century. For collectors assembling a complete Lincoln Memorial set, the 2006 coin is an important date. The collector may seek Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco proof, and special finish examples. The collection can then expand into errors and die varieties. A complete collection does not necessarily require expensive coins. One of the great attractions of Lincoln cents is that many dates can be collected inexpensively. The challenge comes when a collector decides to pursue the highest grades or the rarest varieties. A 2006 penny found in pocket change may therefore be worth 1 cent, a few cents, several dollars, tens of dollars, hundreds of dollars, or much more depending on what exactly it is. The date alone does not make it rare. The era, variety, grade, mint, finish, and authenticity determine whether it is special. Collectors should also be careful with terms such as error, rare, ultra-rare, and one of a kind. These words are frequently used in online listings without professional evidence. A seller describing a coin as rare does not establish rarity. A professional certification or documented auction history provides much stronger evidence. If a suspected 2006 error appears genuinely significant, professional grading can be worthwhile. PCGS and NGC are among the best-known third-party grading services used by collectors. Authentication can protect buyers and sellers because it establishes the coin's identity and condition independently of a private seller's description. A slabbed coin also becomes easier to compare with auction records because the grade is standardized. For example, saying 2006 Lincoln Cent MS 68 Road communicates far more information than simply saying mint condition penny. However, not every 2006 penny should be submitted for grading. If the coin is a normal circulated example worth approximately face value, grading costs can exceed the coin's market value. Certification makes more sense when the coin is unusually high grade, a recognized variety, or a potentially major error. The most exciting possibility for a collector remains the discovery of an authentic major mint error in an ordinary roll of coins. Although such discoveries are uncommon, the possibility is one reason coin roll hunting remains popular. A collector may search hundreds or thousands of ordinary coins and occasionally encounter a piece with an unusual characteristic. The key is patience. A valuable coin does not have to announce itself. Some varieties are extremely subtle. A double die may require magnification, while an off-center strike can be obvious immediately. Learning the visual language of coin errors makes the search more productive. The 2006 Lincoln Cent also demonstrates an important principle of numismatics. Age alone does not determine value. A coin from 2006 can be collectible even though it is relatively modern, while a much older coin may be common and inexpensive. Rarity and demand matter more than age alone. Similarly, a coin does not become valuable simply because it is made of copper-colored metal. The 2006 cent is copper-plated zinc rather than the traditional 95% copper composition used by Lincoln cents for much of the earlier series. The change in composition occurred in 1982, primarily because of rising copper prices and production economics. This composition change is important when evaluating weight and appearance. A 2006 cent should not be treated like a pre-1982 bronze Lincoln cent. The metal composition is different, and the coin's intrinsic metal value is not the primary reason collectors pursue it. The reverse design also contains a historical clue. The Lincoln Memorial features Lincoln's statue inside the building, although it is extremely small on the actual coin. Above it are United States of America and E pluribus unum, while 1 cent identifies the denomination. The combination of architectural imagery and Lincoln's portrait made the memorial reverse one of the most recognizable American coin designs of the 20th century. The words on the coin are more than decoration. "In God We Trust" represents the national motto. Liberty connects the coin with the ideals represented by the United States. E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one, appears on the reverse. The date identifies the year of production, while the mint mark identifies the facility for pieces that carry one. Every one of these elements can potentially assist in authentication and variety identification. A coin missing an expected feature may indicate an error, but collectors must first determine whether the feature was supposed to be present. This is why understanding standard coin design is the foundation of error collecting. The 2006 penny is therefore a fascinating combination of commonality and possibility. Billions were produced, yet individual pieces can become valuable when they possess a recognized variety, dramatic error, or exceptional grade. The ordinary coin is inexpensive, while the exceptional coin can attract serious collectors. The documented market evidence provides a useful reality check. PCGS reports a $2,640 auction record for a regular 2006 Philadelphia cent-graded MS-68 road. Other specialist sources report substantial prices for particular 2006 errors, including a double die example and dramatic striking errors. These numbers are far more useful than unsupported claims of nine-figure values. Therefore, if someone owns a 2006 penny and has seen a claim that it could be worth $252 million, the correct response is not to assume that the coin is worthless or automatically worth $252 million. Instead, the coin should be examined carefully to determine exactly what makes it unusual. If there is a genuine error, the next step is authentication and comparison with documented sales. The most important characteristics to record are the exact date, mint mark, weight, diameter, color, condition, error type, and whether the error affects the obverse, reverse, or both sides. Clear photographs should be preserved before any submission. This creates a useful record for comparison. For collectors, the real excitement comes from discovery. A 2006 penny may look ordinary at first, but under magnification it can reveal a doubled letter, a die crack, an unusual strike, a plating problem, or another production anomaly. The process of identifying the feature is part of the hobby. The 2006 Lincoln cent is not a guaranteed fortune. It is a collectible American coin with documented varieties and errors, and exceptional examples can be worth substantially more than face value. The documented record demonstrates that top-condition regular examples can reach thousands of dollars, while certain major errors can also bring hundreds or more. The claimed $252 million figure should therefore be presented as a sensational or hypothetical figure rather than a verified current market value. There is no credible documented sale establishing a 2006 Lincoln cent at $252 million. A responsible collector should always distinguish between an advertised asking price and a verified completed sale. Ultimately, the 2006 1-cent coin is valuable as a piece of American history even when its monetary value is only 1 cent. It carries the image of Abraham Lincoln, continues the legacy of Victor David Brenner's famous portrait, preserves Frank Gasparo's Lincoln Memorial reverse, and represents the final years of a design that had been part of American pocket change since 1959. Its enormous production numbers make ordinary examples easy to find, but its varieties, errors, special finishes, and high-grade survivors give collectors plenty of reasons to keep searching. A collector holding a 2006 penny should never judge it solely by its age. Instead, look at the details. Check the date. Check the mint mark. Check the weight. Examine liberty. Examine In God We Trust. Inspect the Lincoln portrait. Turn the coin over and examine the memorial, lettering, rim, and edge. Look for genuine evidence of doubling, striking errors, planchet problems, die cracks, clips, broad strikes, plating abnormalities, and other recognized varieties. If the coin appears normal, it is probably a normal 2006 cent. If it has a subtle variety, it may deserve further study. If it has a dramatic mint error, professional authentication may be justified. And if someone claims that an ordinary 2006 penny is automatically worth $252 million, the collector should ask for the most important evidence of all: a verified auction record showing that amount was actually paid. That distinction between possibility and proof is what separates serious numismatic research from sensational coin stories. The 2006 Lincoln cent can absolutely be interesting, and exceptional examples can be valuable, but the real story is more fascinating than an unsupported giant price tag. It is the story of a modern American coin produced by the billions, carrying a historic president, surviving in countless collections and pocket change, and occasionally emerging from the mint with an unusual characteristic that transforms an ordinary 1-cent piece into a sought-after numismatic collectible.